Who of you actually knows the small country Liechtenstein? Liechtenstein is a landlocked country in the Alpine region of Central Europe and is located between Switzerland and Austria. With only 160 square kilometers, is the sixth smallest state in the world and also one of the few states that are regulated as constitutional hereditary monarchies. This means that its sovereignty is officially shared between the respective sovereign of the House of Liechtenstein and the people. The Liechtenstein people elect a state parliament every 4 years, but the Liechtenstein prince can dissolve the parliament elected by the people, propose and hire important provincial judges, and has the right to make every law, appoint important state judges, and has the right to veto any legislative decision. He also enjoys legal immunity and complete tax exemption. Nevertheless, the citizens of Liechtenstein do not seem to be bothered by their prince's position of power. On the contrary, in 2003, they voted by a majority for an expansion of the rights of Hans Adam II von and zu Liechtenstein, or rather of his now ruling son, hereditary Prince Alois von and zu Liechtenstein. The royal family had previously threatened to move out of Liechtenstein if the population decided against this new law, and the citizens did not want that. Why? The tiny state is one of the richest states in the world. Worldwide, it has one of the highest gross domestic products per capita, at just under $170,000 per capita, putting it just below Monaco's $189,000 per capita. In Switzerland, it is only half that amount in the same year, namely $85,000. In the United States, $65,000, and in Germany, $47,000. With 5 billionaires out of a total of only 37,000 people, Liechtenstein has one of the highest billionaire density in the world. The country is highly industrialized and offers work not only to all its inhabitants but also to about 15,000 people from Switzerland and Austria who commute there daily. In the meantime, Liechtenstein is not only debt-free, but even has impressive reserves which amount to about twice its annual income. As a private family, the royal family of Liechtenstein is also one of the richest families in the world. Their net worth is estimated to be $5 billion. Is Liechtenstein's wealth dependent on that of its royal family? And how did the Principality become so rich? Until the end of the Second World War, Liechtenstein was still an insignificant poor peasant state. At that time, poor Liechtensteiners had to look for work abroad, whereas today people are scrambling for jobs in Liechtenstein. In less than a century, a huge turnaround took place. But let's first go back in history a little bit. How did Liechtenstein actually evolve? Quite simple. The former county of Vaduz and the lordship of Sellenberg had been under joint administration since 1434, were notoriously poor and heavily in debt. In 1719, Prince Anton Florian of Liechtenstein bought up the two territories, with the permission of Emperor Charles VI, united them and declared himself prince. However, it was not until the Principality became a member of the Confederation of the Rhine, founded by Napoleon in 1806, that it officially gained full sovereignty. For the time being, this did little to change the financial situation of the country. The respective sovereigns hardly cared about their new territory and did not even live there. Moreover, the Principality was economically isolated, so there was in fact neither import nor export. In the 19th century, the people suffered two terrible famines, in which many lost their lives. In 1852, the situation was about to change. With the customs treaty with Austria/Hungary, they suddenly integrated into the functioning economy of the dual monarchy. Liechtenstein now oriented its economy much more towards Switzerland, with which it was also linked in 1924 in an economic and customs union that is still ongoing and also shared a currency, the Swiss franc. Besides the connection to the strong Swiss economy and the equally strong Swiss franc, this had other advantages. The small state was able to, and still can, outsource an extremely large number of public tasks. They simply have them done by its neighboring country, Switzerland. It is only since the 2000s that the Principality has had its own postal bus and telephone system. Liechtenstein does not have its own military and is not part of NATO. Thus, the Principality has been able to skillfully use its state sovereignty without ever really having to worry about the day-to-day issues of its maintenance. Between 1923 and 1926, the royal family reformed the tax and finance laws, making Liechtenstein a highly attractive financial center. Low taxes for domiciliary companies and industrial enterprises, as well as banking secrecy for private investors. This led to thousands of wealthy foreigners to store their money in a bank or foundation in Liechtenstein. The royal family benefited immensely from it. They are the private owners of Liechtenstein's largest bank, LGT. Prince Maximilian has been the CDO of the bank for 16 years. Today, LGT has around 77,000 clients from all over the world and controls a total of almost $63 billion in assets. But to attribute Liechtenstein's economic success solely to the financial sector would not be entirely accurate. Although almost one-third of the gross value added is derived from financial services, Liechtenstein also has one of the strongest industrial sectors in Europe, accounting for a full 38.6% in 2020 of the country's gross value added, making it the strongest economic sector. Because of the low corporate taxes, numerous new factories settled in the 1940s and 1950s, starting with a factory for shell casings for the German military, mechanical engineering companies, computer factories, and automotive technology factories. Since the country joined the European Economic Area in 1994, it has also benefited from a free trade zone with the most important trading partners. This has led to a real economic boom. The number of part-time and full-time employees has increased almost 3x in 42 years, from around 15,000 in 1980 to around 43,000 in 2021. Among the largest companies based in Liechtenstein today are Hilti, a tool manufacturer, ThyssenKrupp Steering, an automotive supplier, Oerlikon Balzers, a supplier of PVD coatings, Ivoclar Vivadent, a worldwide dental company that produces a range of products and systems for dentists and dental technicians, and the LGT Bank. After a publicly disclosed tax affair in 2008, which exposed many German tax evaders who had invested their money in Liechtenstein, the small state reacted quickly and ended financial secrecy as early as 2009. Nevertheless, the Principality remains one of the most popular places for millionaires and billionaires who can invest their money in foundations or holding companies which are still taxed at a very low rate. Among the biggest investors were Ikea founder Ingvar Kamprad, with a fortune of $54.6 billion, the chairwoman of the world's largest rice and cotton trader, Margareta Louis-Dreyfus, with a fortune of $5.9 billion, and the matriarch of Chile's richest family, Iris Font Bona, with a fortune of $15.7 billion. A total of 80,000 foundations are registered in the country, which has a population of only 37,000. The net assets of domestic investment companies amount to $53.5 billion in 2020. In conclusion, the royal family has made a major contribution to Liechtenstein's wealth by creating ideal economic conditions for investors and companies. However, the current prosperity of the country is not, as is so often claimed, exclusively due to the financial sector, but above all to the extremely strong industrial sector. Coupled with the outsourcing of numerous state costs, such as airports, universities, etc., Liechtenstein profits from high income, which is hardly offset by costs.